Shalom. This is Yeshaya ben Yisrael. First and foremost, giving honor and praise unto Yah, the creator of heaven and earth. One of the things to go over real quick, not saying I know everything, is just a presentation on how the holy name is not, as some people state, as Ahayah or Ehyeh. Now let's first understand the vowel situation. Some people state that Hebrew has no vowels. And so, therefore, they say the alphabet in Hebrew is as A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, so forth and so on. Those who state that Hebrew has vowels state that the alphabet is as Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Waw, Zayin, Ket, Tet, Yod, so forth and so on. Now, one of the crucial issues is whether or not you say Hebrew has vowels or not. Doesn't matter in certain cases in this presentation, because the meaning of the word will still be the same. Alrighty, now we're going to get over a couple of things. First off, there is no such thing as what they refer to as pictograph Hebrew for a language, and here's the reason why. You have brothers and sisters who state that the first letter in Hebrew, which is said by some as A, some people say is Aleph. They state that that means ox, and is written as this in ancient Hebrew, as you see there with the pen mark. As you see right here, some people state that that's the Hebrew word for ox. The problem with that is the book of Exodus chapter 20 tells us his ox, and it's the Hebrew word used there as the word shoro. Shor in Hebrew means ox. This does not mean ox. That is the ancient Hebrew letter Aleph. Another issue is this. The word Aleph means thousand. The word Shor means ox and is used as stated in the book of Exodus chapter 20. So when the children of Israel were spoken to and given the commandments, such as in the case of Exodus 20, they were not reading anything. As Deuteronomy says, you saw no similitude, all you heard was a voice, and that voice being the voice of the Most High. So therefore, the people understood exactly what was being stated to them. When you go in Exodus chapter 20, the Israelites asked the prophet Moses, Moshe or Moses, you go up and speak. For if the Most High continues to speak, we will die. So therefore, that just goes to show you that they wasn't looking at words and reading everything in order to be able to gain understanding. All languages are spoken before it is read. This is how children can say words like rhinoceros, important, especially, so forth and so on. People are still able to say words they do not know how to spell. So therefore, you cannot say that a language has to be read in order for it to be totally understood. All right? Now, of course, we have to know their spelling and punctuation and grammar and so forth and so on. But at the same token, as stated, you have people, such as children, who are very intelligent, unbeknown to some, that can say words they do not know how to spell. All right? Another issue is the fact of saying that the name is said as Ahayah. We're going to get into that in a couple of seconds. I wanted to read something out of the book of Josephus. Now, this is during the time when the Ptolemies were ruling over what we refer to today as the Middle East. And in here it says this. But he said he will be informed that there were many books of laws among the Jews worthy of inquiry after and worthy of the king's library, but which, being written in characters and in dialect of their own, will cause no small pains in getting them translated into the Greek tongue. That the character in which they were written seems to be like that which is the proper character of the Syrians, in that its sound, when pronounced, is like to theirs also, but that this sound appears to be peculiar to themselves. Now, one of the things to point out with this, emphatically, this is talking about the time when the Israelites were made to have to write what they refer to as the Septuagint. In the Septuagint, this is when the Hebrew writings, or the Hebrew scriptures, that is, was translated into Greek, and this was done for the king's library, the king at that time. they refer to as Ptolemy II or Ptolemy Philadelphus. All right, now, he ruled, if I remember right, the date being from 301. We're talking all the way from 301 until 285 BCE. So this was actually done in what they refer to as the 3rd century BCE. Now, one of the things to point out, it says that the Hebrew sound itself is like that to the language of the Syrians. Syria in ancient language were the Arameans. The Arameans were the maternal mothers of the nation of Israel. I stand corrected. The Arameans, also known as the Syrians, were the maternal side. That is to say, Leah and Raquel, Bilhah and Zilpah come from the Aramean people. So you got the Chaldean people and the Aramean people, paternal and maternal, coming together and thus making the children of Israel. Jacob being Chaldean through his grandfather Abraham, and the mothers of the 12 tribes being Aramean, or that is to say Syrian. Aramean is not to be confused with Armenian, as some people may have stated. Now, one of the next things to be pointed out, brothers and sisters, is this here. In the book of Leviticus chapter 18, verse 1, it says this, in the Hebrew, Wadaber Yod-He-Wahe El Moshe Lemor, Daber El Bnei Yisrael, Wa'amwarta Aleihem, Ani Yod-He-Wahe Eloheikem. The English says this, the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. Now, in discussing this matter right here, we have to ask, how does one say, I am the Lord your God in Hebrew, if you're saying that, for understanding purposes, if you're saying that Ahayah is the name of the Most High, and you're also saying that that name Ahayah means I am, and where they're getting this understanding from, brothers and sisters, comes from the book of Exodus chapter 3. Let's go there. Exodus, the 3rd chapter. We're going to start in verse 14, and it says this. In the Hebrew, Vayomer Elohim El Moshe, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, Vayomer Kol Tomar Livnei Yisrael, Ehyeh Shalakani Eleikem. Now, one of the things to be noted and understood is that whether or not you state it as Ehyeh or Ahayah, you're still saying the same thing. When Israelites say Dawid, they're still talking about David. When Israelites say Dawada, they're still talking about David. When Israelites say Yehuda, they're still talking about Judah. When Israelites say Yahwadah, they're still talking about Judah. All right, so whether or not Israelites state whether or not Hebrew had vowels, that's not the ultimate point in this presentation. The ultimate point in this presentation on the second end is a reference with saying that the name is Ahayah. Now, in here we see where the pen is pointed out, it says Ehyeh, Aleph He, Yod He, or as some may say Ahayah. So they'll say it as Ahayah. Now that right there, brothers and sisters, it literally means I will be. It doesn't literally mean I am. All right? It means I will be. It's a future tense word. Now let's go, brothers and sisters, if we will, into the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18. We're going to start in verse 18. We are in the book of 1 Samuel 18, verse 18. And it says this in the Hebrew. Vayomer Dawid El Shaul, Mi Anoki, Umi Kayai Mishpakat Abi, Ba Yisrael, Ki Ehyeh Katan Lemelech. Now, what this says in the English is this. David said to Saul, who am I and what is my life, or my father's family in Israel, that I should become a son-in-law to the king? Now, this right here just simply says, and this is in 1 Samuel 18, verse 18. This says, Ehyeh, or as some might state, if you're saying Hebrew has no vowels, as Ahayah. And this is David speaking of himself, saying he will become. So is David saying that he is the Most High by name? No. This just goes to show you that ancient Israel knew that what some people say is Ahayah, or some pronounce as Ehyeh, is not the name of the Father. Ehyeh, said by some as Ahayah, is a verb meaning I will be. Now, one of the next things to point out, despite what people may state of it, I have a book here entitled 201 Hebrew Verbs. And in here we see this. Ahayah, to be or to exist. Now, the future tense, as we see here, it says, yet again, the Hebrew word, Ehyeh. That means, I will be. Tihyeh, you will be when speaking to a male. So, this just goes to show you right here, as we've seen in 1 Samuel 18, verse 18, where David speaks of himself becoming, he's not talking about becoming the Most High. David knew his place. And we also see that Ehyeh, said by some as Ahayah, is actually a verb meaning I will be. Now, I've asked, and it's not to sound haughty or arrogant, when a person says that the name of the Most High itself is Ehyeh, or Ahayah, is said by some, how then do you say, I am the Lord your God in Hebrew? Because if you're saying that Ahayah or Ehyeh means I am, and you're saying that is the name of the Most High, how then do you say in Hebrew, I am the Lord your God? Because see, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 8, it says, Ani Yod-Heh Wah-Heh, Hu Shemi. I am the eternal, that is my name. That's Isaiah 42, verse 8. So, for those who stated, oh, somebody miscorrupted the text and everything like that, if you're saying you got that kind of knowledge, I'm asking you then, not to be haughty or arrogant, not saying I know everything, how then do you say, I am the Lord your God in Hebrew? Because this here in Exodus 20 says this, Anoki Yod-Heh Wah-Heh Eloheka Asher Hosetika. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Now, many brothers and sisters who are messianic, meaning they deal with both the Old and the New Testament, a lot of those brothers pointed out to me what they refer to as the Ohio Decalogue. That is when the Hopi people that lived in Ohio, where they were Native Americans, they had the Ten Commandments written in Hebrew in the state of what we now call Ohio in ancient America. In it, they still state the YHWH, the Yod-Heh Wah-Heh. When you go into the Mesha Stella, and they stated that they made war against the house of Yah, they still state the YHWH. Now, some people still state, okay, well, you have Israelites saying that Yahweh, Yehovah, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahweh, and that can be accredited to this. Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 7. We're going to let the scripture speak. The book of Yechezkel, or Ezekiel 39, verse 7. And it says this. I will make my holy name known among my people Israel, and I will not desecrate my holy name any longer. Then the nations will know that I am the Lord, the Holy One in Israel. This right here simply is telling us in the future, this is talking about the situation with the war with Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal in the future. It says that the Most High will let his name be known to his people Israel. So until then, you're going to have Israelites saying Yah, Wah, Yahweh, Yahovah, Yahu, Yahuwah. You're going to have Israelites saying this, that, or third, because the Most High has yet to let us know what his ineffable holy name is. You see, so not trying to tell anyone what to do. I'm not a prophet, but maybe we might just want to say the Creator, the Former, the Establisher, the King, the Most High, so forth and so on. There's nothing wrong with those titles. But as we can all see, we all know the Most High. We all know the Creator. Some people state you shouldn't say Lord and God. Okay. But there's nothing wrong with stating Creator, King, the Most High, so forth and so on. You see, now let's go, if we will, into the book of Tehillim, or Psalms. We're going to go in Psalms chapter 90, if we will. And it says this. 90 verse 12. Teach us to count our days, then we shall inquire a heart of wisdom. Return, Yah, unto when? Relent concerning your servants. Satisfy us in the morning with your kindness, then we will sing out and rejoice throughout our days. Gladden us according to the days you afflicted us, the years in which we saw evil. May your works be visible to your servants and your majesty upon thy children. May the pleasantness of the Lord our God be upon us, our handiwork established for us, our handiwork established thou it. Verse 1 of 91. Whosoever sits in the refuge of the Most High, he shall dwell in the protective shade of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God, I will trust in him. So Psalms 91 right there just simply shows us that the Most High was used as a title in reference to the creator of heaven and earth. Right? 91 in the Hebrew says, Yoshé Basatir Elyon, Bezel Shaddai Yit Lonan. So right here, long after the holy name was given as the Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, or said in English as the YHWH, they were Israelites, as we see here in the book of Psalms, still referring to the Most High as the Most High. So that still holds no problem. Some brothers and sisters state that, well, the Hebrew word Howah, H-O-W-A-H, means desolation or destruction or evil. And it does mean that. However, Howah also means in Hebrew the present tense feminine singular of to be. So a male would say, Ani Howeh, I am or I am existing. A female would say, Ani Howah, I am or I am existing. That also goes to show you that Hebrew had structure. Just as much as a male can't wear a female's garment and a female can't wear a male's garment, well, the Hebrew culture also shows us that there was also structure within the language. Now, on another note concerning vowels, let's go, if we will, into the book of Genesis chapter 2, verse 22. We are in Genesis chapter 2, verse 22, and it says this in the Hebrew. We read, Vayiben Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh Elohim, Et hazela asher la kwak min ha'adam le'isha, Vayi'eha el ha'adam. Now, one of the things to point out is this word right here. You see here in the yellow, says le'isha, for a woman or to the woman. The aleph, the sheen, and the hey. It spells the word isha, which means woman. Now, brothers and sisters, let's go, if we will, into the law. In Leviticus, the 3rd chapter, we want to start in Leviticus chapter 3, verse 3. And it says this in the Hebrew. V'hikrib mezebak hashlamim Ehyeh la Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh et hakeleb ham kaseh et hakwered ve'et kal hakeleb asher al hakwered. Now, the point I wanted to get to is the other part here written in the yellow, or highlighted in the yellow. And this is the word Ehyeh. But you see it's still spelled the same way, the aleph, the sheen, and the hey. And Ehyeh in Hebrew means fire offering. The English says this, for the feast offering he shall offer a fire offering to the Most High. That's right here is the word for fire offering. Ehyeh, spelled aleph, sheen, hey. Spelled the same letters as the word for woman. Now, for those saying Hebrew has no vowels, how would you know between a woman and a fire offering? And this is all written here within the same scriptures. So, obviously, we cannot tell a language by reading it only, because people speak before they read. Another situation is that a lot of Israelites who teach that the King James Version of the scriptures was authorized by Israelites, and his version of it was sealed or made approved by him. If that is such the case, and as many people state that King James is the right version to use, but then you're also stating that Hebrew has no vowels, how do you have in the King James Version words like Abishua, Abiatar, Abihu? How do you have that in there if you're saying that it has no vowels? And are there any remnants of an original King James Version that many brothers and sisters uphold as authentic that would have the names said as Yashra Allah, have the name said as Yahawada, or will it have it written as Ayuda in reference to Judah in the original King James Version? Brothers and sisters, all languages have sounds. Sounds make vowels. Vowels make sounds. Whether the actual points and dots and so forth are written in, it still exists. You understand? Now, there are many people, unfortunately, in the ancient world who were born blind. So blind people, unfortunately, are not able to read. I mean, physically blind. How, then, would they be able to speak as blind people even today who are born blind, never read anything in their life, are able to speak? If one is saying that Hebrew would have had to been read first like we do today in order to be understood. Certain things just don't hold weight once it comes right down to it. So in concluding, I wanted to state emphatically that I'm not stating what the holy name is. I do not know what the holy name is, considering the fact that the Most High said that he will let Israel know. It is not going to come from Facebook. It is not going to come from YouTube. It is not going to come from a book. The Most High said himself that he will let Israel know. So anybody stating that they know the name, you're lying. Shalom.